1996 was a great year for the high street. Retail stores seemed to be braver than usual about following new trends, whether it was long and lean or acid. Last summer's acid fruit brights came straight from the catwalks of Milan. Fashion editors were dubious that it would catch on in the high street, but it did. A nightmare for the pale and wan. '96 was also a great year for snapping up designer goods at high street prices. Jasper Conran, one of Britain's best-known designers, created a range exclusively for Debenhams. And Paul Frith did a small collection for BHS after approaching them for sponsorship. Newcomers Clemence Ribeiro was snapped up by Dorothy Perkins to produce an up-to-the-minute capsule collection. Petrol blue and brown chiffon, and not, it seems, too advanced for the taste of Dottie P's modern customer.
Why shouldn't a designer range be on the high street? Why shouldn't everybody on the high street be able to have a designer range at their price points? It was the right time for DPs to do it. It was the right design duo that we wanted to work with, so the timing was just spot on for us to do it.
And Marks & Spencer broke new ground, not with a new collection, but with a new location. M&S has stores all over the world, from Paris to the Far East, but never before in Germany. The new shop in Cologne was a signal that the store's Jewish owners have finally overcome their scruples about doing business with the Germans. Closer to home, Harvey Nichols, the store which has become a cultural icon for sophisticated southerners, broke out of London and headed north. After intense lobbying, Leeds was the final choice for Harvey Nichols' second store, justifying the city's boast that it was one of Europe's premier shopping centres. Americans don't have a reputation for hiding their light under a bushel, and when Tommy Hilfiger decided to show at London Fashion Week, he did so in style. Supermodels and rap artists shared the catwalk in the show to launch his first ever women's wear collection. Tommy is planning to take London by storm.
I'm launching my collection of menswear with Harvey Nichols in the spring, which is right after Christmas. And I'm going to launch my women's wear collection right afterwards. I'm looking for a couple of locations to open stores here in London.
But Tommy wasn't the first American to target London. Throughout 1996, they jostled to secure sites in one of Britain's most prestigious shopping areas, Bond Street. Donna Karan opened a new store this year just yards from her successful DKNY store. Gant, an American company which has been on Bond Street for just over a year, does better in the UK than it does at home. And the latest rumour is that Calvin Klein is on the lookout for Bond Street premises. 1996 was the year the Americans invaded Britain.
You pretend you're high, pretend you're bored, pretend you're anything, just to be adored. And what you need is what you get. Don't believe in fear, don't believe in faith, don't believe in anything that you can't break. Stupid girl, stupid girl, all you had is stay.
It was the year a design house came in from the cold. Gucci, the label that hadn't been hip for 20 years, was suddenly the hippest label of all. It started with velvet trousers and satin shirts, a 70s revival that no one could have predicted. The press praised one man, handsome Texan Tom Ford, appointed creative director in 1994. Did Gucci have a successful year? These days there's a waiting list for the bestsellers. Forget the white keyhole dress, that sold out straight away. But 1996 was also the year another long-overlooked Italian fashion house emerged from the shadows, Missoni. been almost 30 years since Missoni's first catwalk show wowed Milan, but in 1996 the moment was right once again for their crazy colours and famous zigzag knits. The spirit of 70s hippiedom has never left the happily married Missonis. They've just carried on doing their own thing, and the wheel of fashion has caught up with them again.
Come on, walking, that's what we do. Go walking, every time we feel. Walking, that's what we do. Go walking, every time we need you.
Un étranger à Paris avec son manteau long et chapeau noir. Sur les escaliers. Sa bite autrefois bien dure et en forme, maintenant d'or jusqu'à demain. Il y a la cible d'argent au-dessus de son oreille. Il y a une chambre rouge au centre de la ville. On peut trouver des désirs étranges. De voir Salomé dansant dans le miroir comme un reflet poussière d'un temps perdu. Encore la musique se fait prisonnière dans sa tête. Les garçons en cuir sautent sur les motos et se fuient en sifflant. Sur les vieux ponts, on couple son bras.
Come on, walking, that's what we do.
In Paris, the big news of the year was that British talent was taking over. Gianfranco Ferré, who'd been at the helm of Dior for 8 years, announced that he was retiring. His last show was an ode to the sort of classical beauty one had come to expect of Gianfranco. The finale more like a scene from Swan Lake than the Champs-Élysées.
Now we are at the end of a fabulous, like a marriage. It's a separation, but we still love each other a lot.
But Dior has an important anniversary coming up. 1997 will be the 50th anniversary of the first Dior collection, and the company wanted an innovative, creative talent at the helm. Their choice was quirky Londoner John Galliano. The cream of society was invited to celebrate his appointment at a gala party in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Princess Diana wore a gown designed by Galliano as his first creation for Dior. Some of the press described it as a nightie. It was typically unconventional. What had made Dior choose such a maverick of the fashion world?
The thing is, he's the best because for Dior, he's doing things which are feminine, with romanticism, and also extremely modern.
Galliano's talent for fantastic couture is second to none, and his flamboyant style will no doubt lead Dior successfully onto the next century.
I'm quite excited by what Mr. Dior would have done if he were alive today and with the influences around him today, the different energies, New York, Paris, London. So rather than just rehashing, which I don't think would be interesting for anyone, I like to put myself in that mood.
His departure left a vacancy at Givenchy. Again, it was filled by a Londoner. East End boy Alexander McQueen, with his talent for brilliant, if sometimes shocking design, was the man for the job. What, I wonder, will Parisian society make of designs which owe more to bondage than fashion and incorporate live insects as part of the outfit? '96 was a fantastic year for all things British, and London Fashion Week flourished as never before. More shows, bigger names, and more international press and buyers.
Because you're gorgeous, I'd do anything for you. Because you're gorgeous, I know you'll get me through. You said my clothes were sexy. You tore away my shirts. You rubbed an ice cube on my chest, snapped me till it hurts. Because you're gorgeous, I'd do anything for you. Because you're gorgeous, I know you'll get me through.
One young British design team that really came to prominence during 1996 was Clements Ribeiro. Suzanne Clements and Inacio Ribeiro met at St. Martin's and married soon afterwards.
We believe that if you're really good, if you can use your creativity well, you can produce clothes which can easily relate to the consumer. And that's what we like. We just want to produce beautiful clothes.
They hit the headlines with a wonderful autumn-winter collection that became one of the most talked-about shows of the season. It was young, it was street, and very desirable. Its casual glamour and offbeat colours were the very spirit of '96. Antonio Berardi was another British designer who had an incredible year. He was picked out by the press as being the next John Galliano on the strength of his second catwalk collection a year ago. By the time he presented his third catwalk show, a beautiful couture collection held in the salon setting of the Royal Opera House, his reputation was sealed. Berardi was in the running for the prestigious Dior job. He didn't get it this time, but his future is bright. Design duo Piers Fionda also achieved much press acclaim with their tailored and glamorous collection. 1996 was a mixed year for them. They received so many orders from their winter collection that they couldn't finance production. For about a week, they contemplated giving up, but to the great relief of the fashion fraternity, carried on, producing a stunning summer collection. But while '96 was a brilliant year for fashion creativity, on the business side, not all was well with some of the world's most famous names. 5 of Italy's top designers were accused of paying bribes to tax inspectors in return for favourable audits. Giorgio Armani, the man who brought minimalism to the masses, was one of those accused.
Certainly, I see myself as innocent in the sense that I had to submit myself to a system, which was a system everyone knew and recognized. I made a mistake as an entrepreneur. I shouldn't have accepted this conditioning. I'm ready to pay if I have to pay, but I consider myself innocent.
The others accused were Krizia, the Versace company, and Gianfranco Ferre. The case continues.
Well, I don't look good in no Armani suits, no Gucci shoes or designer boots. I've tried the latest lines from A to Z, but there's just one thing that looks good on me. The only thing I want, the only thing I need, the only thing I choose. Yeah, the only thing that looks good on me is you.
1996 was the 50th anniversary of the bikini. Whether it was the birthday celebration or the revival of 70s chic, skimpy bikinis outsold one-piece swimsuits in a way they hadn't for more than a decade. And in 1996, the cleavage continued to be a topic of conversation thanks to the continuing saga of the bra wars. Eva Herzegovina, who shot to fame as the Wonder Bra Girl, faced new competition from Gossard girl Sophie Anderton. Sophie posed for the new Glossies campaign, aware that it could only enhance her career.
Since I got the Gossard campaign, work's been booming. Basically the clients just see you in a different light. They see you as a big model. You're somebody. It gives you a name for yourself, and it gives you an identity really. Because in this modelling industry, until you're somebody, no one really notices you.
And there was more competition for Eva from Caprice, chosen as Wonder Bra's #2 model.
It is a stepping stone. I mean, look at Eva. It completely made her career. Every single time you see Eva, you see Wonder Bra next to her name.
Where will it all end? So long as Eva keeps that smile in place, the punters say she's got the job.